Thank you. I keep doing that. It keeps swapping on me. I'm trying to use Keynote. I'm forcing the issue today. That's what it is. I need to go back to PowerPoint, Microsoft product. All right. So we talked about acquiring a team. We talked about developing a team. Remember, developing a team is for groups of people, for the entire team. Now we're going to talk about individuals. Managed team is for individual. All right, so you see here, the project manager actively leads the team, helping them evaluate performance, navigate conflicts, and make adjustments to deliver outputs. I'd love it for this to say the project actively leads the team members, because again, this whole process is about individuals. Right? This whole process is about individuals, so team members in that ugly font that I just used. So we use management and leadership methods to make sure that, you know, the team is performing optimally. And the idea behind this is sort of, how do we motivate people? How do we manage conflicts? How do we resolve them? So that's what this is about. Now we'll take work performance reports because we need to know how the project is doing. We'll also take the team performance report. We need to know how the team is doing. And then we can use both of those to gauge the individual, right? Not always, but again, 10x your projects. Think about the largest effort you've been on. And that would be the one way that you could really, truly evaluate an individual. How are you doing compared to the team? How are you doing compared to the project as a whole? All right, so notice the outputs. We don't really get a specific output. We're either gonna get a request for change. I don't wanna be on this team anymore. Or we'll get some updates to our approach. You know, don't put a Giants fan and a Dodgers fan together or something like that, right? We'll update our documents, and any EEFs get updated as well. Remember, they get updated in acquiring resources. By developing the team, we update the environment, right? We got an EEF update. If you think if we were all on the same team and we all managed projects and we all did our things in our own way, then we all take this PMP training class, regardless of whether we get certified or not. Now we start using new language. We start using project management terminology. The next person that gets hired and comes into our environment will be coming into an updated environment. Okay, so by training people, by acquiring new locations, by doing any of that, you actually update the environment. Just from us going from physical to virtual has been an EEF update, all right? And notice how we take the work performance reports from the last process. That's from monitoring and controlling. Another example of how we switch back and forth between process groups. This is an output from monitor and control project work. We took the team performance assessment. That was an output from the last process, along with EEFs and OPAs. And then using these interpersonal skills that we're gonna deep dive into, we can get any request for change, updates to our approach, documents, or EEFs. And so, again, these are the outputs that we just saw. Just showing it to you in a different format. Inputs that we just saw, again, showing to you in a different format. Work performance reports. This could include status. All right, and it would spark the creation or idea of other actions to be taken. All right, and then the team performance assessment will highlight areas where improvement can occur, and then we can look at the individual and match them up to that. So we take those as inputs. And then here's the tools and the techniques that we really need to think about, right? So there's conflict management, and there's really being able to understand the conflict, the importance of it to the people, right? Because the conflict may seem small to you, but to other people, it's a big deal. We're talking about their workflow and what they do, right? And also the intensity. Things can bother people for many, many, many months, weeks, days, whatever you want to call it, and they don't say anything, and then all of a sudden, all of it comes out at once. So as a PM, you have to think about identifying those issues and being really creative in your problem-solving skills. Also having the ability to persuade people, right? And that's going to go far ways into influencing people. And active listening. I know all of you on the call aren't necessarily project managers by title, but by trade, most of what you're doing are projects, okay? And so when you think about it, in our role, oftentimes we will have the tendency to answer somebody's question before they've gotten it all out. We will have the tendency to finish somebody's question before they've gotten it all out. Oftentimes, because of the nature of our work, sometimes we kind of do the same types of stuff over and over. We understand what people are getting ready to come at us with. I will tell you, one of the best things you can do is to stop yourself, hold back, listen to the whole thing, and then shoot off a statement like, if I understand you correctly, you're saying this. Or, so what I hear is, right, if you give them one of those, especially if you're going to disagree, that is the easiest way to bring down the resistance to it. Let somebody know that they've been heard. We're humans. We want to feel like we've been heard. Even if you agree with somebody, you want to hear them, right? You don't want to just, yeah, I got you. Like, people don't even like that. So we got to hear our people out. Now, here's how we resolve conflicts when they come up with us, right? There's different ways to do it. So I'm going to use an example of, I'll go back to the painting example in this room. We'll use that example as our piece here today. So let's imagine that we've been commissioned to paint this room. We're a project management crew, but me and I see Ron first. Me and Ron are going to be the actual painters. The rest of you are, either managers or estimators or whatever it is. We're the actual painters, right? And so our job is to paint this room, and we've been given the leeway to paint it whatever color we want. So I walk in, and Ron, I don't even think you're a baseball fan. I'm not sure, but if you are, what are you, Giants or A's? You're probably an A's fan.
A's.
Okay.
A's, yeah.
So Ron wants this room to be Oakland green. Meanwhile, I want the room to be Dodger blue. All right. So we're going back and forth. Now, we're going at it. And finally I say, you know what, Ron? I don't care what color you pick. Do whatever you want. I don't even want to be a part of this. And I storm out the room. I leave. Ron, whatever. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out. And I leave. All right? That happens all the time. That person, Ron didn't win because he didn't get me to choose giant green. I obviously didn't win because I left and I didn't get him to choose Dodger blue. I withdrew. I am now avoiding the conflict. I've retreated. I've left. It's probably going to cause the issue to worsen. Yeah, because I left. Problem upset. Had a couple beers. I show up the next morning with a hangover, see all this green. I'm going to be even more upset. All right. That's kind of the idea of withdrawal avoid. So they're going to describe this scenario and just know that, hey, I didn't give up. I didn't walk away. I didn't quit. I withdrew, or I'm avoiding. You must use the PMI term for the answer, okay? All right, well, I see Shem next. Shem walks in, and Shem is like, guys, Dodgers, A's, West Coast, all about the Yankees, man. We got 29 championships, pinstripes. So he says, you know what, forget all this baseball stuff, man. Let's go down and let's have a beer. And so let's see if I can pick Shem's beer. We go and have a Stella. I don't know. Shem likes Stella. Oh, yeah, I got a smile. So then we have one, we have another. But again, all Shem has done is he smoothed things over. He's been able to emphasize an area of agreement that we see there, right? And that area of agreement, we like to drink beer, all right? While ignoring or conceding the differences. We don't like each other's team's colors in hopes of maintaining a harmony. All right, we all have a beer and we get past our differences, right? But again, if either of us show up the next day and that color is not what we like, we're going to be upset. Then there's compromise, reconcile. Maybe Ron says, you know what, CJ, you can have the north and the south wall. And I'm like, good. Because I wanted you to take the east and the west wall. Okay, we've compromised. But you know what? It's still a lose-lose. Why? I lost 2 of the 4 walls. Ron lost 2 of the 4 walls. So while we both gave something up, and you may think, oh, everything is okay. Look, they both gave something up. It's all good. No, we gave something up. Nobody likes to give anything away. That is still a lose-lose situation. So I want you to think about that when you're working with people, having somebody say, okay, look, why don't you give him something and why don't you give her something? Like that doesn't always work because it's still a lose-lose, okay? Then there's force and direct. All right, here's Leah. She's the next person I see. Leah comes in. Leah's our boss, and she's like, guys, A's green, Dodger blue. Baseball's a dying sport. Nobody's watching it anymore. I want this color on the wall. Put it on there when you guys are going to be fired. And in fact, the exam usually takes some type of approach like that. They'll have someone senior to someone junior will tell you, hey, you need to do it my way. I'm senior, right? Or someone will come and say, hey, if you don't do it my way, I'm never going to help you again. That is forcing or direct, right? That is forcing one's viewpoint through power. That's a win-lose situation. Leah wins. She gets her color, right? The senior person will win on the exam. And then it's a lose situation. Anytime somebody loses, it's bad. So we had a lose-lose here, right? Smooth and accommodate. So lose-lose. We have a lose-lose. We have a win-lose, getting closer. But then there's collaborative problem solve. Maybe me and Ram both look up, look at magazines of what rooms are looking like and what type of paint. And we're like, you know what? Dodgers and Giants ain't won nothing since the 80s. We're not worried about that. Nobody wants bright colors. Let's put a nice, soft pastel color on the wall. And so we look at magazines. We come to an agreement together, right? That's the win-win. That is the win-win. That's the collaborate or problem solve. So to get two people together and do their thing, that's the win-win. Now, PMI does not say that one is better than the other. There's no one of these are better than the other. In fact, there are times where based on the two people and sort of the intensity of the conflict, there's no way you're going to get people to collaborate or problem solve, right? So sometimes you just need people to withdraw or avoid. I need both of you guys to go home, cooler heads prevail, take a couple of days off. Let's come back on Monday and work it out. Sometimes that's appropriate to withdraw. Sometimes it's like, look, guys, let's just go have a beer right now. Sleep on it in the morning. Let's come and let's work on this. Sometimes that's appropriate. All right. So PMI doesn't say one is good and the other is bad. They just say these are the different conflict resolution techniques that you can take. Now, what will happen is the question will either describe one of these scenarios and then ask you to pick it out, or it will describe one of these scenarios and say, what should the project manager do? If it says, what should you do? What do you think PMI, which one of these do you think PMI is going to say that you should do?
Problem solve.
Collaborate, problem solve. Always go for the win-win. So if the question asks you, what should the project manager do? Regardless of what they're describing, you choose collaborate or problem solve. But if it describes a scenario and it says what is happening or what has the project manager used, right? If they already asked, like they described it, then you pick out whatever the scenario is talking about. Fair enough? Okay. Any other questions on managing individuals? One of the pieces that again, and this comes from me, teaching this in many different ways, and not everything is in the PMBOK. So I want to give you all a little more information on this that's not in the slides that may pop up on your exam. And I also want you to think about it because this is going to help in your actual, application to your job. All right. So there are motivational techniques as well. We have several, right? There's something called the hygiene theory. Right? You don't have to write this down, but the hygiene theory says that fringe benefits, pay, all of that stuff does not make people happy. All right. So it's the idea of, okay, I'll use Facebook, for example, right? When I had a project and I was on Facebook's campus for a while. On Facebook, when you get to their campus, there's 5-star restaurants of every type: Italian, Japanese, Chinese, barbecue, whatever. And it's all free for the employees. You can go at any time, and I mean 5-star, okay? If you need your laptop fixed, you don't really need to call IT. They have something that's called a pit stop, looks like NASCAR. You walk up, you give them your laptop. They say, okay, what applications do you have? What do you need? They give you one that has the stuff in. They might do a quick data transfer, and they'll say, come back when you're done, or at the end of the day, we'll have your laptop fixed. You only open up a ticket. You need a new mouse, battery, headphones. You go to a vending machine and you take your badge and you wave it at the vending machine and your batteries will drop out, your keyboard, your mice, whatever it is that you need. Are you tired? Go to the dream room and take a nap. Can you imagine that? Being paid to sleep? Go to the dream room. They got these nice Chase, put on your Bose noise canceling headphones and take a nap. All good. All of that is there because they need you at work 10, 12, 15 hours. Oh, I need to go home and do laundry. No, you don't. We got dry cleaning here for you for free. I got to pick up my kid from school. Oh, well, we have free daycare and we have a shuttle. What's the address? We'll send a driver to go pick them up. I need to get an oil change. We have a little speedy thing in the back of our campus. Drive your car around, drop it off. As a matter of fact, if you give us our keys, we'll have somebody go pick your car up. What parking lot number are you in? They'll go take your car, get the oil change. Would you like a wash too? Oh, you would? Okay, we'll wash that for you too and we'll bring it back. All of that. Now, I'm not saying that Facebook is not a good place to work at. Don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is that all of that, they must offer it, because if not, they're not going to get the people that they need, the people that they want to be there 10, 12, 15 hours putting out work. If I don't have the ability to feed you, to make sure your clothes are good, take care of your needs with your cars and your children, then you're not going to want to be there for 10, 12, 15 hours. All right. So that's the hygiene theory. There's the expectancy theory. People only do things because of some result. They're going to get a bump in pay. They're going to get recognized, reward. They're going to get a promotion, right? So you need to think about that and plan accordingly. There is the, oh, am I drawing a blank on this one? That people are only motivated by either power, achievement, or success, right? Money's not always the motivator. So it's like, maybe I want to find a cure for cancer, and this is why I'm doing this. No amount of money, no amount of other stuff, right? Maybe it's I was bullied when I'm younger, so I'm going to join law enforcement or something like that. Maybe that's a bad example, but there's just different things. And once you recognize this about people, then you use that to manage them. And the last one I'll give you is theory X and theory Y, and this is a really good one. Right? You have the theory Y people, YMCA, like I'm happy. This is called the power position. And then you have X theory people. It's like, right? Now, this theory applies to the manager and not the employee. All the other theories I gave you was about the people. This one's about the manager. So a theory X manager believes that people can't be trusted. If you're not here at work, you must not be working. I need you to sign in. I got cameras everywhere. Right? Now, that's not a bad thing. There's certain professions where you have to do that. People need to, punch in and out, right? And then theory Y people are just sort of like, theory Y managers are like, look, I could care less if you're in this office. In fact, don't come to the office because you're costing me money in air conditioning and snacks. But if we have important meetings, then show up. As long as your performance is good, that's all that counts. So that's the theory X and the theory Y. These things will pop up on the exam, maybe 1 or 2 questions. All right, so it's not in the slides, but remember PMI will test you on things that's not necessarily in the PMBOK, and those motivational techniques are there.